That definitely does look more like a nipple. So welcome back to the Whitetails and Whiskey podcast. We're checking audios really quick. I don't know how many people saw that, but we are not a ages 10 and under approved show.
Mm-hmm.
So YouTube is good, and Facebook. So there we go. We are good on Facebook and YouTube, and like always on the Bullhorn app. And Nate coming back on for episode number 26.
26.
Been full 4 weeks since you were on.
Yep, been busy.
Yep, had a couple other guests. I shot a solo, and tried to get Andy back on, but he's still recovering. He had pneumonia following COVID. So,
damn it, Andy.
Yeah, we're trying. We're trying to get Andy back.
Come on, Andy.
So, we also talked to Mike Price about him coming up. He doesn't really have an excuse. He's too close to have an excuse for coming over.
Yeah.
So
he'd be a good one to have, man.
Absolutely.
Talk a little archery.
Yep. Yeah, I think that'd be great. So,
the man, the myth, the legend,
Mike Price. So, but yeah, thanks everybody for tuning in and hanging out with us tonight. We cracked a new bottle, just because it's been sitting on my shelf taunting me. Is this Wild Turkey Kentucky Spirit single barrel. So it's a 101 proof single barrel. This was bottled back in July, and one that I've been just waiting to open. So we cracked it tonight. I've poured one already. Nate's got his boob ice cube, if you can see it, from his leftover ice cube from the first, and he put another ice cube in it for the next one. So, but yeah, so we don't really have a itinerary for tonight. We figured we'd just shoot from the hip with it. And
did you already get yours?
Yeah.
You didn't pour me one?
I thought you were.
I got to come back and straighten you out after a month.
I'm sorry. Sorry.
All right. We're good now.
Yeah. So Barb tuning in says, hi, guys. Hey, Barb. Barb's been hooking me up.
Always does.
New Russell's single barrel right here that she was lucky enough to set aside for me the other day. You know how much I like my turkey. That's why we're drinking turkey tonight.
Mm-hmm. Turkey.
Let's
talk about turkeys.
Mm-hmm.
We took care of a few over the weekend.
We did. We ended up butchering out 2 of my toms that I had. They were starting to get a little porky, a little too big for their britches. So
yeah, we took care of that, and they're not the turkeys that you raise. They're not really meat birds. They're more of like a, what would you call them? I mean, they're more of like a pet breed.
Yeah, they're more of a general domestic breed, not a meat bird breed.
I was gonna say, because they were pretty similar to like a wild bird when it came
with
to
their build.
The build and the meat and everything.
Yep. Yeah, very, very similar to a wild bird. They were a black Spanish was Peep, and then the hen was a bourbon broad-breasted. So broad-breasted is a meat bird, but a broad-breasted bourbon and then something else cross. So they were a little bit of mutts of everything. They came out all sorts of different colors and shapes and sizes.
The meat looked good, though.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Got a bunch. I don't know what you think. Maybe 30 pounds? Not quite. 25.
I don't think you got 30. A little bit. I think it's a little heavy.
Yeah.
20, 25 pounds.
Yep. With just drumming them out and breasting them. There wasn't much on the wings or shoulders or anything to do with them. But that's usually what I do for, birds I, get during turkey season.
And they, you ended up with what? What'd you have? 6 toms?
Total, yeah. And then I sent a couple over to my dad, did some trading for that bourbon hen that we got now.
So they're beating each other up pretty good and beating the hens up.
Yeah.
Start weeding them out.
Yeah, and they're a little bit bigger than Peep. I mean, they were already bigger than their dad, who Peep's now 3. I think it'll be 4 this year, actually. He's the only OG.
Peep.
The only original from all the birds we've had here at the house. Survived the mink, survived the fox. I think he just pushes everybody in front of himself.
Probably.
I don't know.
Less with the...
But he's still my buddy. Still lets me go over and pick him up and all that good stuff.
Pet his head. I've pet his head before.
Yeah. He's not mean. But the two that we took care of were definitely the two porky ones of the group. You know, they ran together and they were starting to actually.
I like that bronze one you got.
That bronze Tom, yeah, he's good. He's pretty mellow, low key.
He's the runt though. He's the smallest Tom you got.
Yeah, yep, yeah, he's definitely smallest. But they're not known for being that big a bird. Those bronzes, so. But yeah, we still got him, and then we still do have one because my dad kept saying that he thought it was sold. We had one that was a brother to the two black ones that we butchered up or whatever, and nobody bought him. So maybe his time's coming. But they've all been pretty good. You know, the last week or so since the.
So now you got what 3 Toms left?
There's 3 Toms out there, and 1, 2, 3, 4 hens.
3 Toms, 4 hens.
5 hens. Sorry, 5 hens.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, forgot little honey, the little itty bitty bourbon hen.
She was the one you were worried about all the Toms getting beat up.
Yeah, they were beating up on her the other day when they were out when we had this nice weather before this last snow and cold snap. But yeah. So yeah, we were able to do that. I guess another life update or whatever. I ended up tearing my bicep, or partially tearing my bicep. So right now I'm out of work with stuff and taking it easy. I'm on a 1 pound limit for lifting and all that fun stuff with my right arm. So can't do much of nothing, you know, for the next month.
Yeah.
But yeah, other than that, it feels good, and that's what the doctor said. It's going to feel fine, but don't use it because I don't want to tear it and end up having to do surgery on it and all that stuff. So
with like you said, it's like a 25% tear.
Yeah, like 25%.
So they're thinking it'll heal itself.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And they were surprised because usually when that starts to tear, other stuff gets messed up in that. So I tore it right down at the bottom where the muscle comes into, I guess, your elbow, where your bicep attaches down in that area, is where I ended up tearing it, according to the MRI. So, yeah, it sucks. Archery's done for me. Like I was saying last week on the podcast, Nate's been tearing it up. I think Nate's in first place right now.
Maybe. I don't know. I didn't shoot too good last night. I mean, my score was solid, but from the yardages, I should have shot a lot better.
Yeah.
I don't know what it was. I think I was trying to figure it out. My mind was kind of running to begin with, so my mind wasn't in the right place when I started.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was trying to get focused as we go, and we got about 3/4 the way through, and I started realizing that my left arm, when I was sitting there holding my anchor, I was tensing up, like from my neck to my shoulder. So my shoulder was like coming up. I was tensing up, and I think that's really was what was going on. I was trying to figure out what was going on because I was shooting like 4 inches low, and the week before from 30 yards, I was shooting baseballs.
Right.
So I was like, all right, well, what the hell? And the last 4 targets, I relaxed that shoulder, thought about it a little bit, breathed a little more when I was shooting, and
right where they needed to be.
Put them where they needed to be.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll, I think before the next shoot, I'm gonna maybe drag one of the 3D targets out. And maybe do a little yard shooting just to see if something happened. I don't know.
Yeah.
Or if it was just me, man. I was just having an off day, which I kind of felt like I was. But
yeah, it happens. So I was talking to Mike about setting up a tab, not a bar tab, but a tab to shoot with and shoot with my mouth while my arm recovers because I can't draw my bow, and I might not even be able to turkey hunt, the doctor said, or I have to maybe shoot left-handed or something. Or just go with a small gauge shotgun or something. But
410. Bring that 410 out.
Yeah, he'll do the job. Call him in nice and tight. Yeah. So, yeah, maybe. I know a lot of guys do thump them. Maybe I'll have to call Wes and be like, hey, what do you got on the traveling dealer display? And let's see what we can come up with for a shotgun that's not going to beat up my right arm too bad. So, Bo says most compound bows being produced for hunting are way too heavy. way too heavy weight wise or poundage wise. I don't know what I mean. Have you picked up some of those older bows?
All the older bows.
Yeah.
Well, I think definitely they're definitely come a long way with the weight on the compound bows. But I mean, being the blue collar guy and doing all that, I mean, you kind of go for the middle of the road. You go for the aluminum, and you're going for the $1,000 bow. You're not going for the $2,000 bow. That carbon that's 3 pounds lighter than the, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, there are options out there to get a lighter setup, and they are, you can get different options that compress the size of them, and they got youth bows you can buy that you can draw 70 pounds that are just as accurate as any other hunting bow.
Says weight wise, most of them come in over 5 pounds without a quiver, sight, rest, etc.
That would be the machined bows. That would be your aluminum ones.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I'm shooting.
Mm-hmm.
I shoot Hoyts.
Yeah.
Mine's the last year's model Hoyt Axios.
Yep.
Axios.
Yep.
And it is heavy. I mean, it's not bad when you pick up a bear bow. Then you throw your sight on it. You throw your quiver on it. You throw your stabilizer. You throw all your accessories on it.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, you got to sit there and hold 7 pounds, but that's part of doing these archery leagues. It's something Ben got me into. What was it? We got to be going on 4 or 5 years now.
Yep.
But my accuracy in the field,
success
rate has gone up immensely by going to a bow league and shooting my bow at least once a week throughout the year.
Absolutely.
Just getting out there with it. You're going to have your off days. I think a lot of people tend to blame the bow a little more, but if you have an off day, maybe you're just overstressed that day, or you had this happen, or you slept on your arm funny, so your anchor's weird. You know what I mean? Just give it a break, go back in a couple days and shoot it again and see where you're at before you start making tweaks.
Yep.
Which I'm thinking that's kind of what I was dealing with this past week, because from 18 and 20 yards, there's no reason I should have shot that.
Right.
What I did.
Right. And I mean, I guess it's tough to say, but sights are obviously they're more complex than the old brass frame with a single metal pin. But you could pick up in a lot better lower light, stuff like that. So there's a lot of benefits to some of the sights and stuff like that. Now, I mean, but you can go, super heavy. That one Trophy Ridge sight I used to have, that one single pin slider.
Trophy Ridge is heavy.
That was heavy, dude.
I recommended one for my sister.
Yep.
Because I had a Trophy Ridge sight.
Mm-hmm.
And I liked it, and I recommended it to her.
Yep.
And she has a Matthews, what's the not the Ignite, it's the Matthews Mission. The Mission.
Yep.
She's got a Matthews Mission, and that sight just looks huge on there. I was like, that is a big sight. I didn't realize how big it was when it came in.
Yep. Bow Hunt commenting in says, what are you guys shooting for broadheads? So you're Schwacker, or not Schwacker, Spitfire.
Spitfire. I'm
sorry,
a Nap.
Spitfire.
Nap Spitfire. You go to Walmart, pull them off the shelf. 3-blade mechanical. They fly just like a field point. When it comes to tuning them in, I've never tuned one in. They fly just like your field points do. I've never had a problem with them.
Yep.
The only thing you got to watch for with them is the little platelet when you replace the blades. It has the little dimple that locks your blade down. They will get wore out the more you use it, and the more the blade comes in and out, so you do have to replace them. Besides that, never had an issue with them. I've switched up the Rage. I've done some other stuff. Not a big fan.
Yeah.
I always end up going back to what my uncle started me out with, and that's what I shoot.
So let me think. I'm just kind of looking around at the bucks. I've killed them with a bunch of different heads.
Well, you were a big fixed blade.
Yeah, so I guess my favorite fixed blade head was what Bud's got and what Outlaw and a couple other ones. These Dirt Nap broadheads. I was on field staff or whatever for them, so I was shooting them. I think they are a good head. The problem is your bow has to be tuned to the 9s to have these heads fly right. But when you got them tuned in, they're great heads. I mean, it's very traditional looking broadhead, if you can see that on the camera. Just a double bevel with a bleeder blade. They spin true, they spin great. Fly good when you get them tuned up, but you have some that just don't shoot, and some arrows that just don't shoot right. So, like I said, I killed Outlaw with that. I killed Bud with those Dirt Naps. And then this year, went to a hybrid head. Actually shot these Slick Tricks. I want to say
mechanical.
It's a mechanical hybrid, but
they call it a hybrid.
They call it a hybrid, but it's like a really small muzzy head with expandable blades on the side. It's really
neat concept.
Yeah, it's a neat concept. I liked it. But where I shot my buck, it wouldn't matter if it was a field point, fixed blade. It wouldn't have mattered. It was going through both lungs.
When it came to you shooting the fixed blades and these mechanicals, how much more time did you have to spend in tuning your bow with these mechanical?
0.
It just pink.
Yep.
They're there.
Yeah, they're flying right on. But I would still check them.
With those Spitfires.
I would still check them because I had one arrow that just wouldn't shoot them. I don't know if the spine was thrown off, it was a bad arrow, whatever. I shoot every arrow mine out to 40 yards and under, to check them and make sure, because sometimes you do have odd flyers, with them. So, but yeah, I use this. I don't know if this is the Assassin or the Assailant or whatever, but it's a Slick Tricks hybrid head. And Jake hooked me up with them because he works up at the outdoor group up there and up in Rochester. So, and that's what I killed Hornet this year with. But you killed yours with your Spitfires.
I've killed most of my deer.
Yeah,
with Spitfires. Bo Hunt's bringing up Ranch Fairy. Not a big fan of his.
Yeah,
I think he's kind of a crack. Honestly, no offense, Bo.
Yeah.
He's a big weight guy. He shoots everything pretty much under 20 yards on a feeder.
That's not realistic.
It's not realistic with the
for
whole,
Northeast hunting.
How we hunt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm not a big fan.
I'm not a big fan of the FOC. Big heavy broadheads.
We were actually having this conversation last night.
Yeah, we had this conversation with last night. So
with Mike Price.
So, but the thing with poundage, I mean, I might be down this year a little bit, but I shoot 64 is what my bow max is at.
Yeah.
And I'm 29 on my draw length. Bo asked what our draw length is and our poundage.
Mine's I think I'm 29 and like 3/4.
Yeah.
I'm right up there around 30.
Yeah.
But.
Yeah, you're right around the same as me for that. And then the weight wise, you're right 65.
65.
Yeah. So Bo sends a bunch of laughing emojis and says, "Yes, what's your average shot distance in the woods?"
20 yards.
20 yards.
20 yards and under.
20 yards and under typically. Hornet was the farthest I've ever shot. Well, second farthest I've ever shot a deer. I shot him at 33, I said, when I called you, because I remember ranging him. And I called Nate right after. He remembers more of the story than I do. I kind of went blank. It was a blur.
Yeah, you were like 35 yards, I think.
I was like 30,
34.
Yeah, 33, 34, something like that. But again,
there is a lot of open timber. I mean, I'm not opposed to taking.
He was out in the food plot.
But majority of my shots and how I'm set up, I guess, would be. I guess most of the deer I've killed have been 20 yards and under.
But that was the first buck that I killed in a food plot. I killed him early. I killed him on food. So that was the other thing too. It was a calm night, everything like that. But in the woods, in the timber, 25 and under.
It's easier to concentrate the deer down in the woods. You get out in that open field, who knows where they're going to meander?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Absolutely. If you're set up on the right ridge and the right trail, pinch point, mock scrape, whatever, set up by that stand location to make it the right area, you should be set up to kill them within 25 yards, and not set up right on top of them where you're trying to shoot them at 5 yards, because that doesn't work.
I definitely plan on 30 and under.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm in an open field,
it's tough.
But Bo says, you guys planning on changing anything in your archery setup? I did have one thing I'm very interested in is the smaller diameter fiber optics. They got the 10 mil.
A little smaller pin.
I think I'm shooting 19s right now.
Yep.
I would actually really like to switch to that. But when it comes to the broadheads I shoot, I also shoot FMJs, full metal jackets. When it comes to any of that, I have no interest in changing anything because past how many, it just works. I mean, how many?
Look how many FMJs are.
I mean, the FMJ with 100 grain broadhead. I shoot the Spitfire, like I mentioned earlier.
Mm-hmm.
It works. And bottom line, it really comes to, I don't care how heavy your arrow is, how light your arrow is. Bottom line, it comes to shot placement, and that's your time practicing on targets, doing all of that.
Yeah, and it's just the repetitiveness and the confidence with shooting.
Because when that time happens, you get that.
You
get that 30 seconds you've been waiting for all year for that to happen. You want to be as ready and as confident as you can. You want it to be almost instinct because your heart's pounding. You want your body and your muscle memory to basically do half the work, to just do half the work for you.
Yep.
And if you can accomplish that, your success rate is going to go through the roof.
Yep. So Dave chimes in, says shooting a bow is just as much mental as it is physical. When mental aspect gets better with confidence and confidence gets better with practice. So it makes perfect sense why a bow league helps us all be better bow hunters. Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%.
And if you don't, if you got other stuff going on in the wintertime, work or, bowling leagues, I know that's why Andy keeps, not being able to come out.
It's tough, man.
Yeah.
I mean,
dart leagues. I know there's a bunch of dart leagues guys doing stuff. But I would
doing something different.
Definitely recommend a summer league or summer, go to a couple of these archery shoots, guys. Spend the money for the day, put $50 aside, and that'll give you your lunch and your entry fee. And go shoot a competition.
Yeah, I would recommend going to join an archery league if you got the time. If you don't, just find 15, 20 minutes. And even during the winter, whatever, go out there and shoot your bow.
Shoot 6 arrows or whatever.
Shoot 6 arrows once a week throughout the winter. Just have your target set up outside, even if it's 20 yards, whatever. Mm-hmm. Just trying to keep that muscle memory up.
Yep.
I think that has a lot to do with it.
Yep. And that makes I think all the difference. I had a bad year. I think 2015 was my bad year that I scabbed a couple and didn't recover them. And then after that, I started shooting leagues. The success rate has just jumped, way.
That's the same thing with me. Once you got me into leagues, my bow hunting success rate on my accuracy in the field was.
Yeah, and the recovery and harvest rate
unquestionably better.
Oh, absolutely. But
something else to consider with your archery equipment, especially in season, is where you store it. If I'm hunting, this goes with my rifles, my shotguns, everything. Whatever I hunt with stays in the temperature I am hunting it in. Mm-hmm. It stays in my garage. It stays in my shed. Hell. It even sit in my truck with the doors locked. It does not go from, keep your house at 65 to 28 degrees in a matter of 15 seconds. That's going to alter things. It's going to fog your scopes up. It's going to mess with your optics.
Make rust. Metal's going to sweat.
Depending on what kind of setup you have on your bow, if your sight, it's going to affect anything metal on your bow. It's going to affect everything on your bow because things are going to expand and contract.
Yep.
With your, especially if you have a plastic sight on your bow, it is going to tweak that more than you can even imagine. Mm-hmm. So let's say you keep your bow in your house during the summer and it's in the air conditioning. Then you bring it outside and you start shooting with it. Okay, you're starting off good, and then things start warming up. That plastic sight starts expanding. Your pins are starting to move. You're not being as accurate. You're blaming it on fatigue. You're blaming it on this. You need to, if you really want to, you need to have that bow in a consistent temperature. Whatever you're shooting that bow in, even if you have a plastic sight, make sure you store it in the temperature you're shooting it at. That is a tip.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then with those colder temperatures and your house is up there around 65 to 72 degrees, and you pull it out of your house and you go out there and you bring it out into, the snowy day where it's, 5 degrees, things are going to change with it. It's going to expand. It's going to contract. It's going to do all. It's so just a little tip there. I always leave my bow in my shed or garage. I guess you'd call it a garage. I got a 1-car garage. I just leave it hanging in there. That's where it sits during season.
Yep. So Bo says TAC, also known as the Total Archery Challenge. I've never done that. That specific one. I've gone down to the shoot on Swain. They have some longer yardages and stuff like that. Total Archery is one thing, but there's a great local 3-leg shoot called the RBD that we shoot every year. Hopefully I'll be able to shoot it this year if my bicep recovers and I can drop my poundage, or hopefully that all recovery works out good and I can shoot, because I do love my 3D shooting. I like going and seeing everybody and shoot with Nate. Nate's got to go find a new partner for the captain and mate one. That one I definitely won't be able to make in April.
Tim Rose is going to be my partner.
Timmy!
I don't know if Tim's tuning in.
I don't know if Tim is. But
he said he was going to start looking into the podcast a little bit.
Yep.
But he shoots leagues with us every Tuesday. He started 2 years ago, but being a hunter, he signed up for the
3-spot.
Well, yeah, he signed up for the Vegas shoot instead of the Animal League. But he's in the Animal League this year. He's actually doing well. He's actually progressed a lot.
His scores have come a long way.
I looked at his scores from the beginning. So week 1 to where we just shot week 9.
Yep.
And his scores he's
tracked.
He's definitely trending in the right direction.
Absolutely. So yeah, and I'll probably come and hang out. Maybe I'll set up a table or do something to be productive, because I like seeing everybody. I like the social aspect of the leagues and the hanging out and the shoots and all that stuff. Somebody's got to come be a professional photographer.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we usually shoot RBD. We shoot
Captain and Mate
shoot at Branchport. I know they got another Captain and Mate this
year. Is
this
new now at Seneca Duck? This Captain and Mate at Seneca Duck?
Yeah, the one I sent you when I thought I was going to be back to work and back on my feet kind of thing.
Yeah.
Before they told me I tore my bicep. Yeah, I do. So, I think this is the first year Seneca Lake Duck Hunters is doing that Captain and Mate shoot. So, we'll see.
I like the Captain and Mate shoots because it's almost
really
like
cool.
Going on the golf course with your buddy and playing best ball.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's just you both shoot, and you play best arrow, and.
Mm-hmm. But then on the shoot off though, if you get in a tie or anything like that, both arrows count, right? That's what I did at Branchport that one year when we won.
I have no idea.
I think it was like that. I don't know, because we went into like a secondary shoot off, remember? Because they tied off.
That was because Gary and Jake tied with us.
Yeah, they tied, and then they said both arrows count for this score. And what's the motto, Nate? 10's for the win.
10's for the win.
Don't shoot those bonuses.
If you're shooting just regular hunter setup and blah, 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 and you don't have a verifier or a scope or anything like that, I mean, you get 30 yards plus. At least for me, it's kind of tough to find that 11 dot or the X dot.
Yeah.
So you're just hoping
10's for the win, man.
You're just trying to aim for a 10 and getting it in there.
Yep. No, I definitely love the archery stuff, and I don't know. Mike said he's gonna whip me up a tab, so we'll see. I don't know. Maybe I will be shooting. Don't know, But no, they're always good. Swain's another good one. I've enjoyed that shoot in the past down there on Swain Mountain. You ride the chairlift up, you shoot coming down the mountain.
Never done that one.
You got to kind of yell for and be listening. And
I got
watching.
invited through a friend of mine to go there.
Mhm.
I couldn't make it.
Yep. Yeah, that one's in August usually. But that's the thing is, sometimes it overlaps with other shoots and stuff. It's tough.
Mm-hmm.
Or other stuff in life, not just shoots, but other life. So.
Yeah.
But,
Hence why I haven't been here in 3 weeks.
yep. That'll do that for sure. But no, it's definitely one of those things. Like I said, archery was one of the things that we were talking about last night. Obviously, it would be in league night, and then it's a little bit less for me now that I haven't been shooting in the last 3 or 4 weeks, which I was bummed, dude. Like I was sitting right there in second and third, right around where you are. I was shooting solid this year.
You and me always battle it out for a position.
Yeah, I always give you a hard time, and you give me a hard time. But that's what I think makes us better shooters too, is going there and competing.
Yeah, if you can go to a league with a buddy who's on the, same shooting level as you.
Mm-hmm.
I guess no matter where you're at on the scale.
Yeah.
And you just compete against each other, and you better each other.
Yep.
What's the term? Iron sharpens iron, I guess. It's kind of what me and Ben have done because you invited me out. It was like four years ago or whatever, and I showed up, and my score was pretty close to yours.
Yeah,
not bad. And then every week it seemed like our scores are right there neck and neck, and then it turned into, well, who's going to beat who? Then we turned it into, well, who's buying the beer after leagues this week, and we turned it into a little competition.
Yep.
Because after Tuesday leagues, the local bar about a couple miles down the road from the archery shop, they do Taco Tuesdays, and we'll go down there. So we turned it into who's buying the tacos and who's buying the beer, and it was fun.
Yeah,
it's fun.
Yeah, absolutely. So, new comment had pinged in. Dave comments, what works best for me is shooting one arrow before I go to work, one arrow when I get home from work. I found there's nothing better to prepare me for shooting for that few seconds that you have to arrow a deer than one shot. It has to be the best. Why not practice that way? I love one arrow shots. I do that a lot of times in the summertime, especially when I'm going out to feed the chickens and turn the electric fence on before dark. I usually have a target down by the chicken coop. I'll shoot an arrow from the garage down there, 40 yards usually. One shot, but that's a great tip.
I've thought about that when I'm shooting. That first arrow is the only one that counts.
Yep.
In some occasions, when bow hunting, you can get a second arrow in, which we were talking to Mike about last night. He did that on like a half-looking piebald-looking deer. But
yeah, back in the day of the Golden Eagles.
The Golden Eagles, and he was shooting 700 grain arrows.
Because that's all they made.
Yeah, but that's how we got on the farm ferry.
Ranch ferry,
whatever the hell it is. Topic.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, that's definitely a good way to go about it. Just shooting the one arrow, getting ready for that one shot. Because I guess in bow season you only have one buck tag, and if that's all you're out there after, then why not?
Absolutely. And that's the thing that, even if you do want to go that direction with a high FOC arrow, high weight arrow, if that's what makes you confident,
mental is,
but again, you have to realize the limitations with that. Like we were talking with Mike, you're talking, if you misjudge or have a rangefinder that, misranges it or something like that, 2 yards could be 6 inches. With that heaviest setup, and lighter poundage or something like that. So
I want my bow for deer hunting because I shoot all year long, so my shot placement should be where I'm aiming. Other than that, I want that arrow to shoot as flat and as far as possible. I want to hunt with one pin, and I don't want it to move. Yep. I want it there. I can put that pin on it.
Maybe a touch high, and then just...
Yeah, that's literally...
Yeah. I really only hunt with one. the buck I shot this year, I shot with my second pin, but I held second pin and I hit him a little high.
And and honestly, in the rut, who has time to sit there and get their rangefinder out?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm always out there pinning trees. After I get in my stand, I get everything set up. I grab my rangefinder and I'm pinning trees or pinning landmarks like rocks or stumps or whatever. So I know if that deer comes through there and he's at that stump, he's at 25 yards, and I'm trying to work it back from there. So because everything happens so fast.
Oh yeah,
and then you're trying to keep your composure. You're trying to do everything. So you're trying to. It's like I always say when I'm on, is just trying to do everything you can to optimize your chances of success.
Yep.
And by doing that, that eliminates that 5 or 10 seconds of pulling out. 5 or 10 seconds, that deer could be already by you.
Yep. Oh yeah.
Pulling it out, ranging the deer. Like you watch all the videos of the deer out in the field and you know, the movies, the old school guys with big food plots and deer's out there for a half hour. Well, that's not how it works when I'm hunting.
99% of the time, it happened for me this year, but 99% of the time it does not happen.
You got about 2 minutes to kill that deer. If you can't figure it out in 2 minutes,
2 minutes
you ain't getting
2 minutes is an eternity.
Wow, it can be.
So, and then that's, I guess, related back. Hornet.
Depends on the situation.
Hornet
but on average, I figure you got about 2 minutes. If that deer's running, you got about 15 seconds.
Yeah. Yeah, I call it like a 10-second rule.
That doe comes hauling by you, you better have your bow drawn back right where she's running because I hope he's following her and he's not like 10 yards past
we had this conversation. Was it you? It might have. Yeah, it was when we were butchering the turkeys. I was talking about that 1 8-pointer in the garage and how I passed that deer. Same thing. I judged him quick, but instead of drawing my bow and being ready, I saw him coming over the hill, and I'm like, oh, that's not a shooter. And then after he had gone right under my stand with the doe, I looked at him walking away with that frame, and I go, I messed up. You know, had I been full draw anticipating anyway, as he came by, and where I said, oh, I screwed up, I could have went, he's dead. You know. But, and that was a split-second thing. That was less than 10 seconds. That was immediate. 2 minutes is an eternity. Like I said, with Hornet he's the exception to the rule. Watching a deer for 30 minutes. Basically,
most of the deer I've killed with my bow, though, have been walking.
Yeah, less than a 2-minute encounter. Less than 2 minutes.
You know, I mean, the bucks come in either, most of them have actually rattled in. They come in and they're curious, and they usually do like a loop. And they're almost doing like a scent check loop.
Mm-hmm.
And they do like this little loop, and they're walking, but they're doing like a fast-paced walk. Like they were doing something
on a mission,
but something like distracted them, and they're coming up to check it out real quick, and they're going back to what they're doing, and you're trying to catch them in that loop.
Yep.
And yeah, it's usually a fast-paced walk, and literally by the time you see them and by the time they're gone, I think on average it's like 2 minutes. Even if they're within your range.
If you can see them coming.
If you can even see them, if they're within your range, blah, blah, whatever.
Yeah, 100%.
It's 2 minutes. You think about it. It's not long.
Yeah, no, I mean, like I said, Hornet's the ultimate kind of exception. And like I told you that night, you know, I had already given up on shooting him that night.
You didn't think he was going to get close enough.
I didn't think he was going to get close enough.
But he came back out.
And he came back and he kind of circled around in front of me. And, you know, took the wrong trail out of the field. He could have took the trail 5-10 yards further when the guy shot that night. And I had already accepted that when he kind of worked off and fed and worked back. And I was like, well, I don't know. And then St. Patrick was kind of the same way with the pistol this year. I didn't feel set and confident when he popped out for that 2-second window right in front of me, steady enough to shoot him. And I said, all right, that's not, you know, I wasn't on him and ready to go when he popped back out. And I said, well, it'll be what it'll be. And then I kind of see him moving in the brush and angling to my left, and I'm like, oh, I said, he's going to step out right there. I said, he's going to be done.
Well, you knew that because you know the property.
And
you,
the way
you
that
know the
spot
way the deer
was.
move.
Yeah.
And you've seen him take that trail, and you're like, oh, okay.
He's done.
All
as soon as
right.
he took
I
that
gotta
trail.
move to this window.
Yep.
I got to get ready. He's going to pop out right there.
Yep.
And, and that's sweet.
Yeah.
We actually, we
put that blind in. You helped me with that plot.
I helped you with the blind. I helped you with the seat on that plot, and we actually walked it for sheds on that nice week we had 2 weeks ago.
Yep.
We did get out for a couple hours.
Yep.
Walked, did a little grid walking. Didn't find nothing.
Yeah, we were just walking mostly the boundaries. Like I said in the last episode, I like to check the posted signs, make sure the posted signs are good. I like to do a big kind of outer loop of the property to start.
I know that 1 week there was like almost 60 all week.
Oh my gosh!
I got out there. I walked all my properties. I was like, you know what? I always say, it's like second week of March.
Yeah,
get out there.
And then we hit that third week of February.
No.
Yeah. And then I checked cameras, and
so I'm probably gonna walk my properties a second time this year.
Getting the exercise.
Yeah, get the exercise. I actually got the little guy out.
Yeah.
Got Owen in his little, I call it a papoose or whatever you want to call it.
Papoose.
His papoose. It's that thing you throw over. It's kind of like a front backpack. I had him in there. Brought him out shed hunting with the wife.
Yep.
Unfortunately, we did not find anything.
Mm-hmm.
But he handled it well. I mean, that kid's so laid back. I don't know.
Oh, he's easy going, man.
That kid he's so laid back.
Yeah.
But then he hung out and he was staring around in the woods and he was watching everything going on and he was all about it, just soaking it all in. And then all of a sudden his head goes, boop.
Yep, out cold.
Well, he's out, so we had to switch him around, flip him around so his face was facing me and his head could rest on my chest while we walked the rest of the way.
Mm-hmm.
And
but that's the thing,
good.
Like we say,
it was fun.
Oh yeah, no, I know. You remember Joe? He was a volunteer with the branch. Joe Winsky.
Okay.
He had little Grant. He came out to the farm one time to shed hunt, and we
always
always
one of the twins. Joe, one of the twins.
No, that's Clayton. You think
Clayton.
about. So Joe came out to the farm, and the two sheds we found that day where Joe came out with us, Grant started getting fussy.
Grant knew.
Grant knew the sheds were there. He got fussy. And then I go over and I'm just like, anything I can help you with, Joe, anything like that. And I was just like, oh, no. I said, there's a shed right here between us. I said, Grant's telling us, man. He's like, you guys got to get looking better. So, yeah, and he had one of those little, what do you call them? Papoose.
I don't know why I call it a papoose.
Yeah. But, yeah, he had one of those, too, and he was walking around with Grant. Grant's probably at least 6 now, I think.
How old was he when you brought him out?
Oh, he was probably only 3, maybe. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, Owen, he's 6 months already. Had him out there. 5 months old. Had him out.
Okay, I was out there tracking deer with my dad when I was that old. Yeah, right in front of you.
Oh, all right.
Yeah. So, yeah, I've done a little bit of rearranging down here, but yeah. So, no, it's definitely good. We got out, shed hunted a client piece quick one afternoon. You and me found 2.
Yeah, we found 2.
And I found a couple more.
This one right here, all about this caliber.
Yep, the 2 we found.
They were both left side.
Yep. Yep. And then I found that big dead head out there at that same piece. Nice single side, which I got to get back to the owner and stuff like that. So that's why they're all marked with the new shed tags from Extreme Element Outdoors.
Yeah, those are kind of cool. If you're someone that finds a lot of sheds, unlike me, yeah. Actually, it's a good thing if you don't find a lot of sheds. Hopefully, that means they're either on your wall.
Yep.
Or it's a bad thing. That means your neighbor's killing them.
Yeah. So
you gotta rethink your strategy, maybe.
Yep. So that's true.
I'm just joking.
That's
around.
true. So we're only at 3 off the farm. Actually, we walked just south of that property line where me and Nate walked, and then me and Hannah found one. But that seems how it always is. As soon as Nate goes home, if anybody else shows up or comes out to help me after that, like we could walk for 5 hours, not find a single thing, and then Clayton or my wife.
I
or
found
somebody.
a nice one on your property.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I found one of the big boys last year. Curly.
He's
Curly's still alive.
Curly's on the board. So for everybody that can't see it,
So does me finding Curly X name my curse of naming heavy?
I don't know.
I don't know if they know this story, but
Yeah, we can dive into it. That's a good story.
it's kind of like leaning on what you're going at, anyways.
Yeah. So there was one before Heavy that you had named too. Nate. We named that one.
No, it wasn't named after me.
It wasn't named after you.
It was named after another Nate.
Named after a different Nate, same name. That buck died.
You know, just because my name's Nate, it's related. It's kind of it's fairly racist in my opinion.
Yeah, same. Yeah, I guess. So then we had a couple bucks that year that we were going through naming them. Usually around 2 or 3, we started naming them to start following them. And Nate called one Heavy, and then another similar 8 not Heavy. So not heavy got shot by the neighbor.
Mm-hmm.
So then, come to find out, Nate named Heavy and Not Heavy. Not Heavy got shot by the neighbor, and then when we were out squirrel hunting, we found Heavy dead.
I found him.
Yep, you found him. And then I said,
found him.
no more.
Which that story was kind of cool for me because
Yeah.
I actually saw the pictures of the buck. I named him. Then I went out squirrel hunting with Ben, and I found him.
Yep.
That was
So,
kinda cool.
so we found Heavy dead, and I told Nate as soon as we found Heavy, I'm like, no more naming deer. No, you're not allowed to name any more deer on the property at all because he was kind of 0 for 3 at that point. So, but yeah, you found Curly's shed last year. You found one of them, and then I found another one right before archery leagues. And I remember I came and I had both sides. The one you found, the one I found. So he's still alive. He's going to be a 5-year-old this year. He's kind of the number one on my radar right now.
He's the man over there.
Yep, he's got a full list. I've already started my 1-year rule whiteboard. I plan on doing kind of an in-depth episode with that coming up when I get it filled out all the way. And talking about the different dots and the different color coordination. But I think that's something that a lot of guys can do this time of the year. And you started doing it with a couple of your pieces, not with specific bucks, but just specific dates.
Yeah, I switched up the dates. I just kind of look a week ahead.
Mm-hmm.
I'll go back from the year prior in my trail cam pictures and look at my properties and look at the pictures I got the week prior. See if there's anything daylight or anything like that. I'm more of a weather guy. I don't really hunt by the 1-year rule. I guess I do imply it slightly. I do look into it. I do find it interesting, but I'm definitely more of a weather and conditions hunter.
Oh yeah, and like I've said before with the 1-year rule thing, it's not like if I can't go hunt that spot with what wind I have or whatever, I still can't go hunt that spot. You know, if the conditions
just
not right
because
for
it's
the
a
stand.
1-year rule doesn't mean he's going to be there. Like, I mean, you know.
3 out of 4 this year were killed on
that
1
plot,
year.
if you're staying on that plot
Mm-hmm.
and the wind's bad,
You can't hunt it.
You don't want to hunt it because you're going to blow it up.
Yep.
He's never going to come out. He might actually want to come out, but he's going to pick you off. You're not going to get there.
Yeah. So we killed 3 out of 4 this year on the 1 year. The only one that wasn't 1 year was Hornet. Everything else was 1 year.
Well, you didn't have any history with Hornet.
Yeah.
No one knows where he came from.
Yeah. I don't.
He might have been a dink, like a dink 2-year-old, and just blew up.
Too late now.
Okay, never know.
He's going on the bourbon barrel.
Looks good now.
He's going to look good now.
According to the New York newspaper there, he's a 13-pointer.
Yeah. So I sent the photo in for the big buck thing or whatever, and I got
You got recognized. You didn't place.
Yeah, I didn't place or anything, but I got best buck entry. But somehow they said he was a 13-pointer, which I have no idea.
He was only
10.
10.
Yeah, he's only 10.
He would have been an 11, but it broke off.
Yeah.
I don't know where they got the 13-pointer.
I don't either. Because I didn't even kill him like on the 13th or anything. But yeah, so the 1 year rule, all that stuff's good. It's good stuff to do this time of the year. Look back through your old trail cam pictures. You know, start looking at data. There's a couple other bucks up there. I don't know if we'll go after them this year or not. A couple of them might be 3 or 4 year olds. Haven't had enough history to, kind of verify that. And it's tough. I mean, we shot the schnit.
Wow, you guys and your neighbors.
Yeah, the neighborhood shot the schnit out of the age class, the upper age class this year. Can't say the age class as a whole because most of the neighbors are targeting them at the 3.5 or better. But we put a pile of them down between the neighbors and us this year. I mean, we tagged 4 on our property. They killed 2, I think, to the north, 3 to the north, and then 1 late season. Well, Smokey bit the bullet. Smoking Tails. Sorry, Smoking Tails. Smokey bit the bullet too.
But Crafty and Dono are still on.
Crafty and Dono are still up on the list.
If Mike Darling's listening,
yep,
they're still hanging in there.
Crafty, Dono, and then Curly, and I can't read it from here. I gotta get better handwriting. Clipper. 3 of the bar bucks are still.
Clipper's a survivor. I mean,
yeah.
You named that buck right there.
He might. Clipper's the only one on that list that I'm thinking.
I don't know if he's actually going to amount to anything like substantial, but you definitely named him correctly for the bar.
Oh, for his rack configuration.
He looks like he just waddled. He just looks like he waddled out of the Clipper.
Yeah. Yeah. So no, it was. Yeah. So I'm torn that Clipper. I think Clipper might be a 2-year-old. I think he just might be a real chubby 2-year-old, but we'll see. So Dave says, funny, I saw that pic in the newspaper this week and had a hard time counting 13 points.
Yeah, me too, Dave. I was actually there when we recovered them, and I didn't count 13.
Yeah, no, it was definitely a misprint.
That must have been a misprint.
A definite misprint. So, like I said, I don't know where they got it. There's nowhere 13 would have been in the entry thing with it, but I've never killed a 13 pointer either. I've only ever killed 10s. 10s is the biggest I've killed, for antler points. So, but yeah, no, not a bad pick. I think it was a good picture, and Nate took that picture, actually, the one that was in the New York Outdoor News.
Is that one of mine?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yep. Yeah, that one you took. So, but yeah, no, it's been.
And I hit a landmark. I didn't even know I hit it until we actually. And I'm gonna brag about it.
Brag away.
I'm gonna brag away about myself. But I got a non-typical in the record books. Never thought I would do it.
Oh, with your kicker buck.
Never thought I would do it. They actually took him to NBBC. Andy Hall scored him. And he scored non-typical in the books.
Sticker buck.
At 130 and a half or something like that.
Yep.
130, 4/8, 5/8, something like that. And never thought I would actually put a non-typical in the record books in my life. Never thought it.
Yep.
Never thought it. So that was a little pat in the back for me. That was cool. Actually, I didn't even think that buck would score non-typical. But Andy said with that inside kicker,
where it leaves the beam,
the way it left the beam, and it kind of joined in with the G2, that it's considered non-typical, and the number of inches met their regulations and whatever, and actually went in the books non-typical.
Yep. And I was just going to look up, speaking of scoring deer, we talked about this last time, but if you're in the Wayne, Ontario, Seneca County kind of area, March 18th at Runnings,
yep,
there's another scoring event day or whatnot. If you want to book them, it's going to be
$30.
$30.
That includes your 1-year membership to the NBBC magazine. You get their magazines throughout the year.
Yep.
And then their magazines are cool because it shows you the entire Northeast and every buck that's been entered through, from Connecticut to Maine to New Hampshire to New York to
Connecticut,
and they're
everywhere
all
between
in there.
Yep.
And it's very cool to flip through and look through because
and see your own name in there.
It's your neck of the woods, and you can flip through it and be like, "Oh, look, New York! Oh, Nate Pierce! Look at that!"
Yep. Yeah. So that'll be March 18th at Runnings.
Which they're running behind on their New York things. I texted Andy on that because I got their. Did you get their magazine?
Yeah.
I texted Andy. I said, "Why is there only like 15 entries in New York? I'm like, what the hell's going on?"
Yep.
He goes, next one's going to be a lot better. I said, all right.
Yeah.
So
right. So
the next magazine should be good.
Yeah. So that's the 18th, and then this weekend? No, next weekend. Next weekend they have, there's 3 shows in New York. There is the Full Draw, which is in Stanley at the Wayne County Produce Auction. There's also the Hamburg show, if you're out in the Buffalo area, the Erie Sports and Travel Expo. And then there's the one at Turning Stone, which I had to cancel my plans to do a seminar for on Saturday. Had some other stuff come up. But there's 3 different shows going on next weekend, not this coming weekend, the week following. That weekend of the 10th, 11th, 12th.
Now you're talking about sportsman shows.
Yeah, those are actual sportsman shows.
So you just said shows, you know.
Yep. Yeah, sportsman shows. So if you're in any of those areas, those are all good shows to check out. I'll be down there Friday at the one it's on Yahtzee Road in Stanley. That won the Full Draw. Yahtzee. Be the first time that show's going on. So we'll see how that is. And they're actually doing a free entry if you bring in a 10-point buck or an 18-inch wide buck. You free entry into the show.
I'll bring my muzzleloader buck in for my.
I'll have to just grab one off the wall to take with me. Bring in one of the Euros or something.
Yeah, you and your 10 shoulder mounts.
Yeah, I can't bring a shoulder. I'll just bring a Euro. I don't want to walk around with a shoulder.
I'm walking around with a shoulder. I'm going to wear my fox hide over this one.
The bear skin.
My bear skin over my head. And my raccoon hide over this one.
Yep.
And my shoulder mount under my right arm.
I'm
going to walk right through it.
Full on Viking. I think that's a good way to go. Oh, yeah.
I think it would be entertaining.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
With my Whitetails and Whiskey sweatshirt.
Yeah. So speaking of Whitetails and Whiskey sweatshirt, if anybody's still tuning in and hasn't bought one yet, I still have a full box of them over there. Green in just about every size. Brown missing in a couple sizes, but these green ones still have a lot of these available. Maybe we'll run a special on them. Buy one, get a second one partially off or something.
They're slowly leaving. I mean, I couldn't believe the guys that showed up to bowl leagues last night. I think it was half the people had the sweatshirt on.
Well, thanks everybody there.
Yeah.
Keith, Frank,
you.
Or no, I had mine on.
Jake, you.
Yeah. There's a pile.
Everyone's got them.
Yep.
Yeah. The support, the local support we get, and the family support is unbelievable.
Yeah. Thank you, everybody. Thanks, everybody, for still tuning in with us. So, closing in on the 1 hour mark, that's where we like to keep them, keep you guys from being up all night. Know everybody's got kids. And
deer season, we like to run them maybe 2 hours.
Yeah.
It's a little more interesting.
We got a lot of stuff going on. But yeah, we talk bows tonight. A lot of bow talk tonight. So maybe that's
good, which is good.
Yeah.
I mean, archery leagues, that's what we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
We talk about it, and I like Bo Hunt. Even if he was a Ranch Fairy fan, he took it lightly. In our opinion, he took our opinion good.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate the content there.
So I think we got to get Mike on next week.
Mike Price, he's a Crown Royal guy. Can you actually?
I know where the crown is.
Of course, Ben can.
I know where the crown is. So, Mike Price, this is your invitation. So, but the last couple of times I've dropped him off some turkey, he's kind of changed the tune a little bit. He likes that Russell's 10. A lot of people like that Russell's 10.
Yeah, I know. You tuned
Keith
onto it. He does your
Fresh Cracks
with you, and then Mike. Mike's been a Crown Royal guy forever. And you know what? And all growing up, I didn't come from nothing substantial. But my father and my uncles and everybody, you want to talk, you wanted a nice whiskey. They all said Crown Royal.
Crown's a good blend, man.
Can't beat a Crown.
So I think Splash Crown. Last comments. And we'll call it a night. Just over that 1 hour mark. So to get Mike on here.
Mike would be a great one. We could talk a little about tuning bows.
Everything else like that. So here is the Crown, the single barrel Kentucky Spirits, what's going to go into the Infinity Blend, which when the bottle's full, like last time, we'll give it away.
See if there's any comments on any of the other channels.
YouTube, nada. Average duration view, 37. Plamp usually chimes in when he's viewing, so it must be somebody else.
He's feeling under the weather, though. I was talking to him today.
Gotcha.
I said I was actually going to be on this week.
Mm-hmm.
Said, if I'm awake, I'll chime in. He goes, but feel a little under the weather.
Yeah. But Crown's a good Canadian blend. And I think for the price, it's a good one. One that I'll keep on the shelf, obviously, for anybody that comes over and likes Crown.
I like Crown.
I'm a little light on the Crown. I poured myself a little light, buddy.
What do you mean? I got a
I know you got a little cube in there. A little
nipple cube.
Little tabletop cube.
A little sipper.
So thanks everybody for tuning in this week. And we really appreciate all the support, like we said, with the locals and everybody else and the regulars that are tuning into these. Really do appreciate it. We do have hoodies for sale, to help us keep the different bottles coming in, different content. And I found that's a cool story. That's one that we could talk about quick. That was back before I met my wife.
That's your story. It has nothing to do with me.
I know, but that was before I met my wife. So that was...
Which was before you met me.
Before I met you, too. So that is when I first started drinking whiskey, when I had my first house, apartment, whatever you wanted to call it. And I started collecting the little tags off my whiskeys. And there's Buffalo Trace on there. There's Eagles. I've talked about it before. But back when you can get this stuff like on the shelf all the time, Michter's. There's a Michter's on there. Lots of Bird Dog.
We like our Bird Dog around here at Ben's Bar.
We do. There's a whole Bird Dog shelf.
Yeah, every flavor you can imagine.
Just about.
What's that one? I haven't had that one.
Gingerbread?
I like dogs. I want to try all of them.
Yep. Got to collect them all. Or wait, that's Pokemon. That's not bourbon. But
what's that one?
What's that?
That one down there with the red and the blue.
That's the gingerbread.
I've never had the gingerbread.
That's the gingerbread.
Mm.
So maybe next week we'll bust out the gingerbread.
Mm. Might have to be here for that.
Yeah. So thanks everybody for tuning in. We're over here trying to pick apart my whiskey shelf even more. A little bit of Crown, and if you know Mike Price, tell him that he needs to be on next week for this podcast. Because of all the interest
and
in the
if
archery.
Louie's in town, drag him out here.
Bring him
both.
both.
Louie's got a brand new son. Beautiful boy.
Yep. Have a couple crowns.
We can talk.
Yep. Absolutely. So cheers to everybody at home. Cheers, Nate. Thanks for coming back out.
Yep.
Thanks everyone for tuning in. Catch you all next time on the Whitetails and Whiskey Podcast. Take care, guys.